Okay, here we go. Cynthia Schmidt, Mrs. Landlady. That's my husband, Gary. Gary and Cynthia Schmidt. Been married for 44 years, which means we take things seriously. Landlords for over 30 years. Gary is retired from the UPS, and I was a letter carrier in Belvedere, Illinois for 18 years, till I got into real estate. We've had over 500 tenants. What does that mean? We've been to our rodeo. At our peak, 75 rental homes and all single family. You can invest in apartments, live aboard boats, mansions, single family, but it boils down, you've got to collect all the rent that you were expecting. 96 satisfied judgments. That means when the judgment was awarded in small claims or eviction, I took it all the way down to judgment satisfied, and that feels good. Authors and teachers of the Collect Back Rent training course. It's been 15 years, the course, and it has evolved. We have spoke national speakers, 58 RIA groups and landlord groups in 37 states. So we have spoke in Mr. Landlord's Cruise, conventions, or RIA National Summit, Dallas, Austin, Orlando, Washington, D.C., you name it. We have over 1,000 Collect Back Rent team members, and I believe that's gone over that. I'll get a better count my next webinar. Okay, let's get going. We're going to talk about the circle of business for the landlord profession. Like any business, we buy the rental. Naturally, we want to get it under value, so we have some appreciating value when we're at the purchase. We get it ready to rent, and oh my gosh, that's a big thing. Screening the tenant, which is in my overview manual course, is huge. We rent it out, but the human factor can fall in. We want to collect all the rent, but we have to have training to make that circle complete. Now, when you don't collect the rent on the rental, you have to take out of your budget to pay the mortgage. If you own it in full, that's money right out of your pocket. So let's get going, and I'm going to show you the complete circle for success in the landlord profession. Okay, we started out. There's 3 types of eviction notices in all 50 states, and your version will have your specific eviction notice. Okay, the most common is the tenant fails to pay the rent. So we're going to go out and serve a quit or pay notice. Now this one has a 3-day, right here, 3 days. This is Florida's. So we go out and serve the notice. They have 3 full days after you serve it to pay the rent. If they do not pay within the 3 full days, we can proceed to the eviction. Now, it can be 5-day notice in Illinois. It can be a 7-day notice, 10-day notice. Your state has a specific time frame for the quit or pay notice. And a little tip on the non-payment or rent notice. Show the new tenant the quit or pay notice and explain to them that you're going to have to get served if you don't pay the rent. I'm not here to be between you and I, a charity, a friend. We're a business. We want the money. And so it's not a shock. I personally serve the notices. And if I have a disgruntled tenant, I bring a witness and they have an affidavit. So in case when I get up in front of the judge and they said they didn't receive the notice, I have the affidavit of a witness. So that's the first eviction notice. The second is breaking the rules in your rental agreement or state rules, like dealing drugs, or you'll have to look into your state's statutes. But the ones that are in your lease. Now it can range with serving the notices to 3-day, to 5-day, to 10-day, and this is Illinois. And as you can see, this is a 10-day notice with remedy, that they have 10 days to cure the problem. And we put all the tenants on the rental agreement, and we state the infraction of the rental in the rental agreement. Now, one thing about this is if we have to serve that specific notice again, they cannot cure it. They will have to move. So this is a good one. So instead of going out to the rental and, getting verbally ugly with them or calling them, we go ahead and serve the breaking of the rules lease notice, and they have that long to correct the problem. But it's got to be in your rules and regulations in your rental agreement. Now that's the second eviction notice. The third is end of tenancy on a month-to-month. You're on a month-to-month tenancy and we want to end it. We do not need a reason. We serve the 30-day notice, which I'd say the majority of the 50 states, maybe all of them, I've got a version for all 50, I believe they all are either a 28-day notice or a 30-day notice to end the tenancy. So for instance, we want to end the tenancy June 1st of this year. We're going to have to serve the 30-day notice prior to due date of May 1st, if that's when the rent is due. So remember to end it month to month. Now, in some of the states and some of my team members have put in their lease to end a month to month. They will have to give a 60-day notice. Why? Because when we get into small claims court and they fail to pay the rent, they move out, we can go for 2 months rent for not being given a 60-day notice prior to due date. That's a big one. So I went over the 3 types of eviction notices: non-payment, breaking of the lease, and end of tenancy. And they all 3 have their specific, addressing the issue, the tenant. Now the judge will want you have a copy of this or the original in the court file, so you have to go perfect with serving your notices. Because if you don't wait the specific time and you don't serve it at the correct time, your case will be dismissed, and that's losing money. So here's a little eviction flow chart I thought would be good for the webinar. The landlord serves the eviction notice. Now, if it's non-payment and they pay in full, right over here, then naturally we cannot proceed. But there is a question that I probably could have put on the flow chart, and I'm going to answer right now because you probably got the question. What if they only have partial? Take the partial rent and then serve them the quitter pay for the remaining. Now, you cannot accept rent after you have filed the eviction, but you can go ahead and accept the money, then serve a notice for the remaining, because we want to get all the money we can. But if they fail to pay, we're going to proceed to file the eviction. Breaking of the lease, remember they have a remedy. And if they correct it, we cannot move forward. But if it's the same problem within 12 months, we can go straight to the eviction. But if they fail to correct, we go to the eviction. End of tenancy, they move out. We don't go after them.